We've been in Gucci for about an hour, right? And we in Gucci in the VIP.
We've been in Gucci for like 2 hours.
Right? Since we came in here, having nobody came and showed us no courtesy, no amenities, no nothing. Period. Not even a drink of water. Asked to speak to the manager. Send me a black guy out here that start telling me some bullshit. So they got the black guy racial profiling on black people. Asked to speak to a manager bigger than him. Everybody disappeared. Ain't nobody come out yet. I still ain't getting no sparkling water. I still ain't getting no champagne.
All right, 1 2 1 2 1 2. Check, check. All right, 1 2 1 2 1 2. Check, check. All right. So I'm doing something a little bit different because I've been having problems with the audio with the application I typically use when I want to go live stream. That's why I haven't been doing anything on here live or any new videos here or on my crypto channel. And actually, if you want to know what I'm using to go live right now, I'm using Brave browser. Before we get started, of course, we're going to get into the whole Jim Jones Gucci situation. We're going to get into, of course, we're going to pay homage to Huey P. Newton, Dr. Huey P. Newton. Today is his birthday. I probably won't be in the live chat too much. I don't expect too many people. I only have 170 subscribers. I don't expect too many people to be tuning in live. But if you check this, on the replay, yeah, we're going to be getting into Huey P. Newton, a little bit of history about him, my own comments about him. And then we're going to also go into counterintelligence. And once again, how to identify counterintelligence in 2022. What similarities are there and what advances have there been? Because we have to study these kind of things when we're really speaking about how we're going to progress and identify certain things that could be an obstacle to what our goals should be as a people. Right? And it's important to do that. So shout out to everybody that's watching. B1, Black First, New Black Media, Black Guy Stand Radios, Jay Dizzle. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to play this video. So let me get back to the Brave browser. So I just did a video earlier. It was from last year. Facebook Live video I did talking about cryptocurrency. It's called Black Wealth Matters. And one thing that I want people to understand when it comes to this crypto, and I'm glad that our people, Black people disproportionately actually make up more of the cryptocurrency users and holders and knowers of cryptocurrency higher proportionally than any other race in the United States. That's a fact. That's a good thing because a year ago, that was not the case. But I just want y'all to know, especially if you're late to the game, there's way more to this technology than just financial. And there's a lot of financial innovations and ways that you could do things that was never able to be done before. And you could do it with whatever you have. So this is a good thing because we're speaking about building wealth. That's a very important thing to do when you're nation building. The difference between why other races are more protected, aren't attacked by the police, aren't systematically affected to the same degree as us is because they have their bag. Of course, there's other factors involved, because of the way things are set up. It is purposely set up to help other people advance over us. But nevertheless, one way of them inoculating themselves is by economics, spending their money with themselves. The fact that they have bags from different, directions, the Jewish people, they got all those reparations and all that. So they're actually in a situation where they're not able to be oppressed because they control their own industries. They control media, things like that. I don't want to really get into all that. But what I'm saying is wealth is an inoculation for oppression. So that's why I'll be speaking about cryptocurrency and blockchain technology and calling it revolutionary. That's why I urge you to check out my channel, Crypt Talk Podcast. And by the way, I say all that just to say that the actual method that I'm using to go live right now, I'm actually using a browser. I'm using a browser called the Brave browser, which actually pays me to use it. because any ads that pop up, I'm paid to look at them. Plus, I literally was paid to install it. So, these are just some of the things that you do, because when it comes to this cryptocurrency and blockchain, the best development is coming from that sector. So this is just one of the dope things that, you can learn and you can do. This is like basically a Zoom meeting, but it doesn't require me uploading anything. It's just used straight from the browser. And then I can link that to my YouTube channel. So anyway, let's just go ahead and get down. We're going to check this video out. This video is embarrassing. I know by now y'all seen the whole Jim Jones rant from the Gucci store, which it should be embarrassing. 2022. We got Negroes that are begging to give their money to racist companies like Gucci that blatantly has already displayed their disdain for our people. Anyway, let's check it out.
We've been in Gucci for about an hour, right? And we in Gucci in the VIP.
We've been in Gucci for like 2 hours.
Right? Since we came in here, having nobody came and showed us no courtesy, no amenities, no nothing. Period. Not even a drink of water. Asked to speak to a manager. Send me a black guy out here that start telling me some bullshit. So they got the black guy racial profiling on black people. Asked to speak to a manager bigger than him. Everybody disappeared. Ain't nobody come out yet. I still ain't getting no sparkling water. I still ain't getting no champagne. I still ain't getting nothing. I didn't have a salesperson inside of my VIP suite the whole time I was there. I had to keep screaming for VIP people to help me out. Now everybody don't know where the real manager is.
So listen, this should be embarrassing. This dude is sitting there running around begging for attention to spend his money with Gucci when they obviously don't respect who he is or the fact that he has money. Like, I know a lot of people think that they're going to get some money and all of a sudden that's going to earn the respect or earn the admiration or love from other groups of people who have money and power and influence and respect. They don't give a damn. They don't want your money. They don't care. Obviously, if they wanted their money, they'd be catering to you. If they respected you as a person, they would be acknowledging you. So not only do they not really care about your money, because they don't really need it. What's 100 G's to Gucci? But they don't even respect who you are as a person. Like you individually, Jim Jones, they don't respect you. Because although they're racist, I'm sure Jay-Z would have got service immediately. And he does have a considerably bigger bag, more influence, more power, more respect. But why does he have respect? Because he's not begging for a seat. He created his own seat. It's amazing how these cats who we made rich and who we look up to as a culture really want the respect and acknowledgement from others. He could be bigging up several different clothing brands owned by our own people. I believe Master P has a brand. We all know Diddy has a brand. I think Shaq has a line of suits. Harvey, what is that? Steve Harvey. I mean, like so many different and smaller ones, independent, smaller, grassroots ones that they could be shouting out and supporting. But no, they want to go to Gucci, a known. I don't want to jump the gun, but I got to. No, I'll wait until after this. But like, who forgot a few years ago, it was Gucci that came out with those blackface sweaters. So, I mean, it's up to us in a way to make sure that we don't give too much support to clowns like this. Grown man crying because Gucci doesn't want his money because they don't respect you as an individual, first of all, and they don't give a damn about your money. I heard it said before, like if Gucci really wanted to mess with you rappers, they would be offering you deals. They'd be making deals. We're our brand. We're going to give you this. We're going to give you these free clothes. Just make sure you wear it and shout it out in your raps. These cats are doing it for free. Shouting out every other people's brand except our own. He probably knows Piddy or P Diddy, but he ain't gonna go and floss with the Sean John outfit. What happened to the Fubus and the Crosscodes and the Carl Kanais? You want acceptance from people who don't give a damn about you, and you're online crying about it. And the other video he made is just even more embarrassing when he finally got some recognition at a different clothing store. And he's acting like he's a lady, like a little kid in a candy store. He's just as happy as you could be because they acknowledged him and gave him some champagne to spend hundreds of thousands of dollars with him. It's ridiculous. But us as grassroots media platforms and just individuals, right? Because we have that power. This is what I want y'all to understand. No matter how big your channel is, no matter if you don't have a channel, no matter if you're just on Facebook retweeting or resharing and Twitter tweeting and whatever the case is, we have an influence on the grassroots level because things only happen from a grassroots up. Change does not come from top down. That's fugazi. Real change comes from the grassroots level. So these cats, that's why I can't really give too many passes to a Jim Jones because there's enough out there. There's enough information out there that he knows better. It's the same thing that I say about some of these apologetic cats who will say some real shit and then turn around and apologize because they're afraid they're not going to get the check. When they actually have the power themselves to create their own shit. Hashtag Kanye West. Remember when he was begging for all these big ass companies? Remember when he had that little situation with, I think it was Sway in the Morning? You don't understand, Sway. See, because Sway built his shit from the mud. So he's looking at Kanye West crying about these major corporations that don't want to back his clothing brand. He told Kanye, look, man, the name recognition you have, the money you have, you can start your own independent shit. You don't know how to answer, Sway. But hashtag slavery was a choice. See, he's choosing to be a rich slave when he could actually do his own thing. And that goes for many of these famous, rich, celebrity black people that really have the power to quit playing their game and play their own game. So this is why no matter what you want to say about a Jay-Z does what he wants when he wants. He doesn't have to apologize for things that he said. See, you have these rappers like 21 Savage, for instance. Every song, he can kill 10 babies, slap 10 women, do all this reckless shit to our people. But as soon as he says Jewish money and the Jewish people push back, oh, I'm sorry. As soon as somebody says something about, I'm not gay or I don't support that, they have to apologize because they're worried about that bag. Even Kevin Hart, as rich as he is, went on an apology tour when he offended some people for some shit he said 15 years ago. That's the difference between ownership and being owned. Wanting to be accepted and wanting to be respected. There's a difference. And it's too late in the game to not understand that difference. See, what Master P understood when he turned down $1 million deal, what he understood was the idea of money over fame. See, he could have signed the deal and became instantly famous, but virtually made nothing for his music, similar to TLC, who was broke even though they sold 11 million copies. See, Master P understood that if he actually controlled his own distribution, if he controlled his own product and owned his own product, 100,000 record sales, which doesn't make you famous, which isn't successful in the context of a big major record label, but 100,000 times 10 is $1 million. That means if you're selling 100,000 albums on the street level at $10, you're a millionaire. This is how so many West Coast rappers became rich without deals. They understood that. They understood if you grind from the mud and you're connected with the people, not only do you get the respect of the people, but every dollar goes a lot further, because if you sell $1 million or 1 million records on a record label, you're not going to make as much as if you only sold 1/10 of that on your own. Anyway, let's continue to see this goofy shit.
You heard? It's time. I'm tired of this. We spending all this money as entertainers inside these stores. They hire these black people, and these black people are more racist than white people when they get their job inside of Gucci. All of a sudden, you stop playing with us, bro. Still haven't seen a manager yet. Still haven't seen a manager yet. Since I'm talking to you right now, a manager still hasn't popped out of Gucci. And the bill.
Look at bruh. 2 hours at the store to the point to where you're going live, just trying to get as much attention, hoping that one of them follow you and they're going to see you and they're going to come out. Hey, I'm sorry, blah, blah. You're making a spectacle of yourself because you just can't wait to give these people who obviously don't respect you as a human being, as a culture, and they don't give a damn about your money. So you think 100,000 is a bag, and it is, relatively speaking, but when you compare that to Gucci, they don't give a fuck about your $100,000. Are you kidding me? This is sad because these are the cats that act like they're all gangster on their albums, right? These are the same niggas that are gangster on their albums. They're bosses. They'll sometimes even take Italian names, call it Corleones and shit like that, Gottis and shit like that. But in real life, that ain't the case because they're begging for acceptance from people who couldn't give a damn about them. And that's why they let him sit out there for 2 hours. That they were deliberately letting him know they don't want him there. They don't respect who he is or the little bag that he thinks he has. That's exactly what they're saying. I mean, but within 2 hours, somebody knew that was Jim Jones, the world famous rapper Jim Jones. Someone knew that. He had to fill out the paperwork or whatever when he reserved the spot for Gucci. They knew. The picture you working at as a retailer somewhere, salesperson, sales manager, and you don't know that that's a celebrity rapper that's coming into your store on a certain day when they filled out everything they had to fill out in order to be there. They deliberately did not want to fuck with you is what they're saying. And you're walking around crying, begging for acceptance. Black History Month. All the black clothing brands you could be bigging up. And you're begging to jump on the dick of Gucci. Overpriced bullshit. Because the namesake gives you clout or so you think. It's ridiculous. I mean, it's actually embarrassing. And these are the kind of messages that we have to send from the grassroots level to let them know, fuck what you're talking about, man. It's your cornball shit. See, we make things trend on the grassroots level. We make people popular. Jim Jones wouldn't have been popping if the grassroots didn't support him at the beginning of his career. Only after that did some of these major labels and some of these big A&Rs start looking at him. If we didn't give him the green light and say that he's popping, they would have never fucked with him from the gate. That's the power we wield that I want you to understand, that we wield the power of these things. I used to say it years ago on Black Guy Stand Radio. We'd have these different debates and I have these different conversations with people, these different interviews, or I would just have my own monologues trying to make people understand. I said it on my other channel too, which is now, as you've heard, it doesn't exist, but whatever. I used to say it back then, like, look, we control our own destiny more than we think. We have more victories than they show us. We can actually control our own destiny when it comes to the reparations, when it comes to anything. So I used to talk to some of these Moors, and you have to be a Moor. You have to change your status to this. And I'm like, no, you don't. Power respects power, period. They ain't respecting no treaties and all that shit anyway. If we wanted to call ourselves Black Nubian Elohim, and we stand on that, and we mobilize as that, they have to respect it. But do you think Chinese people can't call themselves what the hell they want to? See, that don't matter. We can make them respect whatever we're doing as long as we back it up. Period. And we see that happen now because FBA is actually thing now. See, we can move how we want to move as long as we do it and don't do it thinking that we need to be validated by anyone else. See, they're going to respect whatever we do if we respect it and if we stand on it. That's how power moves. If we can threaten their money, we're going to move accordingly. And if they don't, and we harness our money and our economy with ourselves, it don't even matter what they think. Anyway, let's continue.
Bill is like $29,000, but we didn't pay that yet. You heard? Why would we? They still haven't sent a manager or bottle of sparkling water or anything that says that we appreciate your service for being in here in Gucci and spending that.
Think about what he just said. He just said after 2 hours of being in there, they haven't even sent him a bottle of water, and he's sitting there with a $30,000 bag that he's already committed himself to. Not to mention probably another $100,000 that he would have spent that he's willing to spend in there. And they ain't sent him a bottle of water. They don't give a damn about him so much to send him a bottle of 99-cent water. And he's been there 2 hours just begging for their acceptance. Please, master, let me spend my money with you. But he's a gangster when he's on the mic, right? When he's walking around Harlem like he's just the hardest shit. See, these gangster rappers are exposing themselves at a fast pace right now. It's like the shooters in jail. Oh yeah, you was a shooter on the street because he was afraid to fight. Let's keep it real. But ain't no guns in prison. So now you're just a bitch. That's gonna get pressed. Yeah, you can spit all that hot shit you want to when you ain't got to back it up. But when real situations happen, that's how you know who's who. See, these apologetic, scared to lose a job, scared to not be accepted, because many of them are in situations that really they're good. They manage their money right. You got a few million, you're good. That's enough to be independent. Many people started fortunes from less. But what's the lessons that we learned? Is that the Master P's believed in themselves enough that they didn't disrespect their own humanity or manhood. And they knew how to get it from the mud and how to respect their own value. They recognized their own value. Some of these cats act like without, it's just sad, really. And we got to start calling this shit out, and we got to start actually supporting those who are actually listening to the message that we're putting out there, because there's no reason why Jim Jones shouldn't be sitting here crying. There's no reason for that. He's had plenty of access to plenty of social media because he's on social media a lot. So he's had plenty of access to the information that we've been putting on the grassroots level. Even a Tariq Nasheed, which is still grassroots, but he has a lot of influence out there. There's enough people out there that he could have been tuned into, that he could have some type of foundation to stand on, instead of ridiculing himself as a man, belittling himself, to begging to be accepted by people who don't want to accept you. That's sad.
In that bag.
The big one.
The big one. They sent this guy.
Yeah, nah.
What is he possibly going to do? You heard?
So he's going to take a shot at the brother, who's just doing his job or whatever. Because that's a low-hanging fruit. That's an easy target. Really what he should have did is packed up his boys an hour and a half ago and bounced. Anyway, I didn't want to make this about this, but here's what I want to show you, though, real quick. Let me see something. Let's stop the video. Let's get to a screen share. Now I'm doing this. This is a different way I'm doing it, in case you guys don't understand what's going on here. I'm doing this on Brave Browser. Brave Browser is a browser that is powered by a cryptocurrency called the BAT token. I don't want to go over people's head, but y'all need to learn this. You need to soak up this game. The reason why I'm doing this is because I I've been having problems hooking up my audio, and because I understand some of this technology. There's a lot of dope things you could do outside of just the money thing. So I'm using the Brave browser. I'm going live straight from a browser that I connected to my. We're gonna share the screen real quick. Now check this out. This is why that Gucci or that Jim Jones thing is so ridiculous. That he's sitting there begging. I don't know if y'all remember this. Hopefully y'all can see this. Let me see. Let me see if this thing is actually. Yeah, I'm doing a little something different, y'all. Okay, boom. It is sharing. Okay, so bam. So this was only like 3 years ago, if y'all remember this. This is actual. This is no cap. Is the volume on or what? 1 2 1 2. Check. All right, yeah, it's cool. All right, so check it out. This right here. This is an actual. This is like this is goofy as. Listen, look at this. This is a black face Gucci sweater with the big red cutout lips. Disrespectful. They even offered apology. But really, I feel sorry for this punk ass bitch who's modeling this shit. Look at her. You could just tell under this shit, she's ugly as fuck. That's why they're like, hey, you got a job for Gucci. And she was probably telling all of her friends, all of her family, yeah, I'm gonna be modeling for Gucci tomorrow. Yeah. Boo, boo, boo. And they're like, yo, ugly bitch, put this fucking shit over your face. Cover your ugly ass face with this. We're just trolling niggas. And we're gonna, you know what I'm saying? Like that's cold blooded, really. But it's really disrespectful. This is what they're really on in 2019 until they got called out. Gucci deeply apologizes for the offense caused by the wool balaclava jumper. We can confirm that the item has been immediately removed from our online store and all physical stores. It's probably a collector's item now. See, the reason why they do things like this on the low is to let their base know that they don't really fuck with us, that they'll disrespect us. And then that makes their base want to go double down on their support for them. Because they really don't give a damn. They don't respect the culture. They don't respect no damn Jim Jones. If they respected these rappers, they'd be making deals with these rappers. They be giving them free merch to go on tour with. They ain't doing that. We consider diversity to be in blah, 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 blah. So 3 years after this right here, Jim Jones is begging to give them, of all companies, their money. Fucking clown. Anyway, let's see what else we're going to do here. Now let's go ahead and do what we really need to be doing on this blessed day, February 17th. We're going to go ahead and give honor to Huey P. Newton by going into a little bit of his history, talking about the Black Panthers a little bit. Dr. Huey P. Newton, 1942 to 1989. We're going to take this one out of blackpast.org. So born in Monroe, Louisiana, not too far from where my family's from. February 17th, 1942, Huey P. Newton was named after the populist Governor Huey Long. His parents moved to Oakland, California during World War II, seeking economic opportunities. Newton attended Merritt College, where he met Bobby Seale. At Merritt, Newton fought to diversify the curriculum and hire more Black instructors. He also was exposed to a rising tide of Black nationalism and briefly joined the Afro-American Association. Within this group on his own, he studied a broad range of thinkers, including Frantz Fanon, Che Guevara, Mao Zedong, and E. Franklin Frazier, and James Baldwin. Newton eventually developed a Marxist-Leninist perspective where he viewed the Black community as an internal colony controlled by external forces such as white businessmen, the police, and City Hall. This is actually pretty profound and forward-thinking and very, it shows deep understanding. This is why we have to salute our ancestors, man. Marcus Garvey, Elijah Muhammad, I would say those really are the main two that their philosophies, ideals, instructions, teachings, and works are still going on to this day. And they sparked many different organizations and nations and schools of thought, movements, and an upward trend of the way we think now. So it doesn't even matter what you think. If you're on any type of consciousness or understanding, you have to think those two, because those are the foundation. If you ask me, those are the true saviors in a literal sense. Anyway, let me continue. Let me see. He believed the black working class needed to seize the control of the institutions that most affected their community and form the Black Panther Party. Look at this again. He believed the black working class needs to seize control of the institutions that most affected their community. What is an institution? Well, a bank is an institution. A school is an institution. So by controlling what is controlling our communities is of number one priority. Education, media is an institution. That's why they did have a newspaper, right? So media, see, and that's what I want to kind of get into. I don't want to pivot too early, but I want you to understand that this is why the Black Panther Party was a threat. This is why J. Edgar Hoover said that the free lunch program was one of the biggest domestic threats to the United States, not because the free lunch program was mounting an assault. It was because they understood that if people can take care of themselves, they can't be controlled by external forces. Just so happens, ironically, EBT and school free lunch both came out of what the Panthers were doing, literally and directly. Dozens of clinics and hospitals exist right now that were started by Black Panther Party, including one here in Seattle. And I'm privy to get the insight of how the one out here started, the Carroll Downs, right in the heart of the Central District, where the Seattle Panther Party, the Seattle chapter of the Black Panther Party was birthed. And I'm privy because I do know the founders. And they had to get a little dirty to start the hospital. Yeah. They had to, quote unquote, in their own words, liberate medical equipment and then find Black doctors that would work the clinic. And now that clinic is a hospital. And there's dozens of other hospitals that exist in our communities right now. So we have to salute this kind of shit, because even if you don't know it, it exists. And we're going to get to, like, the whole counterintelligence program and, and all that kind of stuff and what that looks like today. Let's continue giving this man his flowers, even though he rests in eternal peace and power. Newton became the Minister of Defense and main leader of the party, writing the 10-point program and founding document of the party. Newton demanded that Blacks need the power to determine the destiny of our Black community. That power would allow Blacks to gain land, bread, housing, education, clothing, justice, and peace. Some of the tenets of the 10-point program. And I've had the pleasure of meeting Bobby Seale a few times, and we of course we got to salute Bobby Seale for his work. Taking advantage of California law that allowed people to carry non-concealed weapons, the Panthers instituted armed patrols that monitored police activity in the Black community. And of course, we all know the seize on the Capitol, right, where all the Panthers were posing with guns, and when they pretty much marched on the Capitol of Sacramento. But little known fact, the most popular picture of that is not actually Huey P. Newton and Bobby Seale in the capital of California. It's actually Aaron Elmer Dixon in the Seattle chapter in front of Olympia, which is the Capitol building in Washington State. Like, if you Google that right now, the Panthers see at the Capitol with guns, you're likely to see that picture. That's the one that actually blew up, and that actually happened here in Washington State. Anyway, taking advantage. Anyway, so yeah, there's that. Let me see here. Newton's leadership of the Black Panther Party in the early 70s helped contribute to its demise. He led a number of purges in the Panther Party. Yeah, there were some certain things. The bottom line is this. He wasn't perfect. Yeah, he was on and off of drugs here and there. They say he was killed in a drug deal in 1989. And I'm going to say this, you know what I'm saying? And there was things with him and Cleaver, who was accused of assaulting a prostitute, and then he fled to Cuba, and then he went to Europe. What I'm saying is there's no such thing as a perfect war or a perfect revolution or a perfect institution or a perfect method of us empowering ourselves when we're doing it in the hells and smells of North America. So when some of these clowns keep looking for faults in our organizations, yeah, you're going to find them. But weigh that against what you're benefiting from right now. Because if you or your children ever had free lunch, you could thank the Black Panther Party. If you or anybody in your family ever used the EBT card, food stamps, you could thank the Black Panther Party. Literally, those came out of the free lunch program. Anyway, he was unfortunately murdered in Oakland, California, August 22nd, 1989. He was 47 years old. He's survived by his wife, Frederica. His autobiography entitled Revolutionary Suicide was first published in 1973 and reprinted in 1995. So we salute Huey P. Newton for what he did. Now, he was murdered in 1989. At that point, it was a good 10 plus years since the original Black Panther Party was dismantled. Ironically, or by divination, 1989 is also the year that the new Black Panther Party was established by Aaron Michaels in Dallas, Texas. Then after Aaron Michaels, it went to Khalid Muhammad, from Khalid Muhammad to Malik Zulu Shabazz, from Malik Zulu Shabazz to Hashem Akhenaten Nzinga. Following in the legacy of the Panther Party, even though there was a little bit of rift between the two. A lot of the original Panthers, they didn't like the fact that the emergence of what they started again. They wanted to lay it to rest and just keep a legacy and write their books and all that good stuff. But the fact is, you can't stop a revolution. You know that. So something that epic is going to stop off. It's going to spark others. So there's Panthers to this day, right now. And just like in the 60s, there's an organized effort to shut down and delegitimize, character assassinate, disrupt the activities of the Black nationalism going on by Black Panthers. The difference in then and now, see, back then it was just the FBI and whoever they could recruit. Well, they still do that now. But also, because of the Willie Lynch chip that has been activating so many of our people, a lot of us do it ourselves on our own now. I don't say us, but I mean people who look like us. People who hate self. People who operate on the same instructions and goals, whether it's consciously or not, it doesn't matter. The effect is the same. So if this was the 60s and they had a social media, see, they didn't have a social media in the 60s. See, in the 60s, what happened is we had celebrities like Jimi Hendrix right here in Seattle and others that supported the Black Panthers of the day. Even if they did it in private, in silence, under the radar, we had celebrities that supported the Black Panther Party. Well, guess what? That's not too different than today, because even today, I was just telling you the lineage of the new Black Panther Party. Well, Erykah Badu has publicly supported Hashem Nzinga when he was chairman. Hashem Nzinga, the late Hashem Nzinga, who has since passed. But she supported him publicly. You can see it on his Instagram and hers. Billionaire Michael V. Roberts also publicly supported the new Black Panther Party. Tommy Thompson, Tommy Martin, I've interviewed him on Black Power Radio. Yeah. Publicly supported. So there were actually people that publicly supported right now. Now, the difference is the grassroots support. See, in the 60s, there was a lot more grassroots support because shit was real in the streets and there wasn't social media to distract you, and you weren't under the illusion of inclusion. So the grassroots supported a lot more. See, today, what we have is so many social media. Everybody's media now. So we have now enemies online that signal boost our enemies' messages. And they attack in ways that wasn't possible in the 60s. In the 60s, you have to actually just infiltrate or just word of mouth spread gossip. But that wouldn't go too far because people on the streets knew what it was. So they weren't going to let you just badmouth an organization that they know that just fed their children. You weren't going to walk around Oakland disrespecting the Black Panther Party when the babies are being fed. You're not going to walk up to a brother or sister talking about the Black Panther Party, this or that, when their children just left their free lunch program before they went to school. See, now anyone has a voice. It's social media. You can say whatever you want. So these clowns actually get incentivized to disrespect our people. So that's the new counterintelligence. So I don't know if dude's taking up check or not. It doesn't even matter. The effect is the same. His goals are the same, and it's to disrupt. This is why the modern day Panthers, the modern day Huey P. Newtons, the modern day Angela Davises, the modern day Asada Shakurs are being attacked, not just by this Negro, but especially by this Negro. I don't want to make this no Harker Bay, Toronto Johnson situation, but we have to look at this just as a reference to history and an educational lesson. Grandmaster Jay comes in the spirit of a Panther. How many times have Morris World TV attacked this brother? He hasn't scammed anybody out their money. He hasn't done anything detrimental to our people. What he did is he organized Black nationalist organizations to stand up against the KKK when they were threatening to kill our people on July 4th, the 4th of July, a couple years ago. When they were literally saying they're going to start killing Black people at 8 o'clock on the 4th of July, he mobilized 1,000 armed Black men and women to go straight to their headquarters and say, you start killing at 8 o'clock, we're starting at 8:05. Just to show that resistance. For some reason, Taharka Bay had to find some kind of flaws in that. They went on a campaign to disrupt, to discourage people from supporting that. A lot of what happens that really disrupts our support comes from our own people who have misinformation, self-hate, doubt, fear. So whether they get a check or not, to me, that's an agent. So you notice Taharka Bay goes against Grandmaster Jay, modern day Panther, modern day Huey P. Newton. We're not going to compare him to Huey P. Newton like that, but we're going to say he falls in the same spirit, because if there wasn't a Huey P. Newton, there wouldn't be a Panthers currently. And of course, that's the energy that we tap into when we're going to take the front lines of defense for our people. So it's the same energy regardless. That's the energy he's trying to kill by literally going after the modern day Panthers. Crystal Muhammad, for instance, she's a sister warrior. It don't matter how you feel about her. I know some things that Taharka doesn't know that I could say whatever, but I have to respect and salute her, because even though she branches from the Khalid Muhammad formation, she sincerely is leading her own organization and institution that's actually putting in work. And Taharka Bay wants to talk shit online, but when she pulled up with comrades to his house, he stayed in the house after telling her to pull up. So he has this smoke online, but really all he's trying to do is trying to get people to listen to him so that they could undermine the works of her and people like her. And this is why he goes on a rampage attacking Panthers, attacking organizations that are actually doing more than he's doing. But that's his job. See, his job is to attack those organizations and individuals that represent a better way and progression for our people. And that's what he does. That's where all of his energy goes into. So when you look through, that's all you see. He's just attacking this Panther group, this organization, this individual. Now, I understand the polites and all that, and we need to tax polite, and we need to tax Sonetta because, that's kind of like a YouTube thing that they both get their numbers up by doing. It's controversial, it's sensationalized, and I get that. Except for the fact that nobody would know him if it wasn't for Sonetta and all the conscious community HOK members that he disrespects and attacks all day. Nobody would know him. It's only because he infiltrated that crew. Just like agents do. Sat close to him, built his numbers up, and then came and attacked him. But offers nothing different. So here we go. More. Whatever happened to General Delta. Right? Got him on the show, and then just disrespected him later. This is what he does. This is modern counterintelligence. You don't believe me? Let's look at another document from counterintelligence. Purpose. To recommend attached items given to media sources by confidential basis of counterintelligence measure to help neutralize extremist Black Panthers and foster split between them and Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee. In other words, the purpose is, as I've showed you before on a different page of this document, is to keep Black nationalist groups from being able to come together and work in cohesion. So he attacks them individually, puts one against the other. Modern day counterintelligence program. Notice that cats like the Harker Bay never even give you a different alternative other than themselves. They want you to not support grassroots organizers who are really doing work in the community, to support them, to support him and his YouTube channel. And even on his channel, he's not mobilizing any real work in the community. Oh yeah, I'll do a coat drive if you guys donate. I'll go buy some $1 coats from the dollar store and give it to the poor of Baltimore. Cut it out, man. You could do that. That's cool. I salute you if you really do that, but you're not. That's cap. But these are the same type of tactics. It's not going to be exactly, because this was what, 50, 60, 70 years ago. There's a few, listen to this, background. There's a few between the two most prominent Black nationalist extremist groups, the Black Panthers and SNCC. Attached items note that the feud is being continued by SNCC SNCC, circulating the statement that, according to zoologists, so in other words, what he's doing, according to zoologists, the main difference between a panther and other large cats is that the panther has the smallest head. In other words, use, if there's any riff, you exploit that riff. You magnify that riff. You want this person fighting that person. People who should actually be united, people who actually have the same overall agenda and objective, maybe different methods, but keep them at odds with each other. Keep confusion going on. See, this is how they did it in the 60s. They used to use print media mostly for that, because digital media wasn't like it was today. Maybe the radio, maybe the TV, but now where everybody's the media. So the same principle. Keep these different Black nationalist organizations at risk with each other. Delegitimize them as much as you can. Disrupt their activities and their abilities to gain support as much as you can. Check out the video I did not too long ago. Proof that the Harker Bay is working for counterintelligence, something like that. It's just straight up. I mean, you can't hide, you can't deny it. It is what it is. This is what he does. So I don't want to make this too long. Let me see what this right now. I don't want to make this too long. I really just want to give props to the godfather of the Panther spirit here in the United States of America, and just highlight a couple things. Plus, I kind of wanted to, I don't even know how this is sounding. Hopefully it's sounding cool, but I wanted to just reach out to the people. I noticed that the subscribers been growing No, this is not going to be a channel dedicated to just disrespecting and putting Darker Bay on blast, but enough of that will happen, has to happen, I think, and other people like him. But look, we have to be on the same page and on code to some degree and understand how much power we have on the grassroots. And we have to revere those and not expect perfection. See, to double back to the Harker Bay thing, what he does, he looks for little teeny insignificant flaws. This is the same thing that Gay Edgar Hoover did in the 60s. Look for any small insignificant flaws to exploit. That way people won't support, because we have the super niggerism in us. I mean, that it doesn't matter how much good somebody does, we'll look at something somebody did that's really had nothing to do with anything they're doing now. Really doesn't even matter to us personally or practically or literally, but we'll look at that as a reason to dismiss them and the works they've done. So Elijah Muhammad, yeah, he had more than one wife, and he might have been sleeping around. So therefore now we shouldn't listen to anything he says, even though everything he said is exactly what we needed then and need now. Like what all of a sudden black nationalism, owning our own institutions and economy and doing for self doesn't matter because Elijah was sleeping with more than one woman? That's ridiculous. But those are the kind of small things that these agents look at to exploit, because they know the masses of our people, we're sensationalized. We're going to go with the trend. And, we look for a savior because of how we've been instructed and spiritually raped. We look for saviors out of everyone. And we think savior is something that it doesn't, it means something that doesn't literally mean. So if we find a flaw, because Jesus was flawless, he was perfect. So all of our leaders have to be perfect, or if not, we have to dismiss them. Now, if they're white, of course, we could accept their flaws and we can forgive them. But we can't forgive, one of our own who's done great things if he turns around and do one thing that we don't agree with. That's what I'm saying. Yeah, Huey P. Newton used to get high. He was on and off for drugs. I don't say that to disrespect him. I say that because shit's real. Nevertheless, what he did is laid a legacy. What he did actually has a tangible difference in your life right now, because it was the Panthers. If you've ever used EBT, like I said, if you ever used food stamps, your kids ever had free lunch, or if you ever had free lunch, thank the Black Panther Party for that. This revolution ain't gonna be pretty. And by revolution, I mean complete and constructive change. I don't mean like, grab arms, and I'm not saying nothing like that. You do what you feel like you have to do based on your skills, your talents, and your passion. But revolution means complete and constructive change, or evolving. It's not going to be perfect. If you know what I'm saying? So that's not what we're looking for. We're looking for results. So when you see these cats that nitpick over stupid little things that don't matter, they're likely agents. Anyway, shout out everybody. I'm gonna end this anyway. Peace. Make sure you like, subscribe, comment, do all that good stuff. I'm out.